Hi, my name is Bob Hatcher and I'm one of the volunteers here at Community. I made this simple training video to show you the basics of running the light board. Within a few minutes you'll know enough to be able to run the light board for the next weekend service and help us inspire the attendees that attend at the service. I would like to strongly suggest for you to review this video before you come in the first half dozen times to run the lights board. You'd be surprised how much that you will forget in the first week, 2 weeks, or a month. When you first look at the light board, it may look pretty intimidating. There are so many buttons and faders that it may appear too difficult to master. You might be relieved to know that a large percentage of the board you will probably never use. In this video, I have used the pictures from the user manual, so ignore all of their notations and just pay attention to mine. Mine will be much simpler and easier to learn. The first step will be to turn on the light board. You want to slide your fingers down the middle of the top edge of the board until you feel a switch and click it on. Check the master fader and make sure it is all the way up. All of the dimmer switches that go up and down that control the amount of light are called faders. So let's zoom in on the left half of the board where you'll be spending most of your time. Each fader is numbered from 1 to number 48. It's a little hard to see, but the fader numbers are right below each fader. We are going to start in the upper left corner of the board with the first 4 faders. These control the 4 white lights that light up the 4 parts of the stage. Fader number 1 lights up the left side of the stage where the drummer is located. Fader number 2 lights up just left of the center. Fader number 3 lights up just right of the center. And fader number 4 lights up the right side of the stage. When the worship team is playing, we use the white lights very sparingly. We want to light up the stage, but white lights can kill the mood that we are trying to create with the colored lights. We usually slide fader number 1 and number 4 about halfway up, since the colored lights do not illuminate the musicians very well on either side of the stage. Speaking of colored lights, let's drop down right below these faders to the bottom left corner. You will see 3 faders labeled warm lights, and these are the colored lights that cast across most of the stage that helps us create a mood. The first warm light is also labeled blue. The second one is red, and the third is green. When we have the worship team, we slide all 3 of these faders up 75% of the way. The colored lights on the back wall of the stage are the LED lights. And when we play videos during the service and the worship team is not playing, we only use the blue LED light on the back wall, which is fader number 39. Speaking of LED lights, faders number 37 through 39 control all the LED lights. 37 is red, 38 is green, and as I mentioned before, 39 is blue. We try to match the jump backs of the slides for the song lyrics with the LED lights. Jump back is another word for the background of the media slides. If the jump backs is red, green, or blue, that will be pretty easy to match. But if they are of another color, such as purple, you'll have to play with the LED faders to find the right combination of lights to match the color. Rarely will you be able to match it exactly, but just do your best. For our example of purple, you would push fader number 39 all the way up for blue, and then slowly inch up fader number 37 red until you got the shade of purple you were looking for. If we slide all the way to the last fader, number 48, that one is for the campus or teaching pastor or anyone giving an announcement, with the only exception being the worship leader. You will not use number 48 on the worship leader. The worship leader is the one who is leading the musicians on stage. He or she usually is the lead vocalist. And by the way, the musicians or the band is referred to as the worship team. Okay, now we have the lights exactly the way we wanted for the first song. We have faders number 1 and number 4 about halfway up. The warm lights are pushed up about 3/4 of the way up. We have the LED lights matching the jump backs, at least the best we can. Now we program a blank fader with these light specs. You hit the button labeled sub, then hit the button labeled record, then hit one of the buttons under a fader labeled open. When you push that newly programmed fader up, it will illuminate all the lights the way you just programmed it. We program the first open fader that is the farthest to the left, which is fader number 33, and then program the next one to the right of that. Never program a fader that is not labeled open. Just a few additional comments. We want to make sure that we're quiet in the back of the church there, so if we are communicating to each other, we need to whisper. Act and speak that is appropriate for a house of God, and avoid texting as much as you can, or at least keep it to a minimal. Pay attention to the service so you don't miss your cues. Feel free to get up and dance, clap, and enjoy the songs and the service. Even when you're doing the best you can, mistakes happen. When that happens, just shrug them off and continue to do the best you can. No matter how hard you try, we know mistakes are going to happen. So no worries. We appreciate you and your help. So those are the basics and most of the information that you'll ever need to know to run the lights board. The more familiar that you get with the lights board, the more creative you can become. How to become more creative, we can talk about that later. But thank you for stepping up and let us know how you enjoyed running the lights board.